And we are live. Before we jump in today, I need to know something from everyone who is watching. Today's guest says he can't live without coffee, horror, and vodka in that exact order, which honestly feels like a pretty solid business plan if you're planning something during the haunted season. So, what I want to hear from you guys today is this. What is one thing that you can't live without when you're working on a creative project? Is it coffee? Is it music? Is it a whiteboard? Is it chaos? Drop it in the comments. And while you're there, tell me, what is the single best or most terrifying haunted attraction you've ever experienced? I want names, I want locations. I want to know which haunt still lives rent free in your head years later. Because today we're talking about something that I think the haunt industry understands better than almost anyone else: emotion. The best attractions don't entertain us, they make us feel something. And the very best haunted attractions understand that fear isn't really about the scare, it's about anticipation, it's about storytelling, and it's about creating a moment where people will remember long after they leave. And that's exactly where we're going today. All right, welcome to Live with Sondra. I'm your host, Sondra Shannon, CEO of Gatemaster Technology. And before we jump in, I want to thank our sponsor, Gatemaster. At Gatemaster, we work with attractions of all types, from family entertainment centers to theme parks to seasonal events and haunted attractions. One of the things that we've learned is that guest experiences begin long before the first scare, ride, or interaction. It begins at the customer's discovery. It begins during the ticketing purchase. It begins at check-in. And when operations are seamless, creators can focus on creating unforgettable experiences, because great technology doesn't replace great storytelling, it supports it. And today's conversation is all about creating experiences people can't stop talking about. And before we get started, a quick shout out to all of our podcast listeners joining us from around the world. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow our new Live with Sondra YouTube channel, as we're continuing to bring you more content and talking to more people who are shaping the future of experience economy. So let's talk about today's guest. Today, I am joined by Norman Gidney. Norman is the owner and creator of Horror Buzz and a creative producer with deep roots in the themed entertainment. He's been attending themed park haunts and haunted attractions since he was 6 years old, giving him a lifetime of experience studying what makes fear memorable and what makes immersive storytelling work. He's also built Horror Buzz into one of the most recognized voices in horror media, scaling the platform to more than 15 million views through a deep understanding of audience connection and emotional storytelling. I need you on my team. I need 15 million views. That's amazing. Norman also specializes in something I love talking about: bringing together creative vision with technical execution, because great ideas only matter if they can actually be delivered. So let's welcome Norman to Live with Sondra.
Sorry, I had to do it. How are you?
I'm good. Sometimes before like the pre-show conversation that I have with people, I'm like, and I didn't say this to you, which is funny, but I'm like, hey, next time I see you, we're gonna be live, so don't be picking your nose.
Oh man,
And some people love to hear that, and some people look at me like, why would I do that? but but I definitely like how you came to this stage, Norman. But welcome.
excellent. Well,
Was that bio okay?
it was
Did I miss
phenomenal.
anything?
It was
Okay, I
it
just want to
was.
make
I'm a
sure.
little embarrassed, but yeah, I'm so happy to be here and be talking with you, Sandra, and yeah, I mean, and talking, of course, about my favorite thing, which is horror and themed entertainment. So
Well, I love the idea of coffee, horror, and vodka. I
okay,
love it.
well,
You mentioned that.
see, I always say, I mean, okay, I always say that vodka's my lover, but coffee is my rock. So so but of course, there's so many other things that you know I rely on to work and to get creative. I mean, music, all those other things, uh, and sometimes chaos, like you were talking about. But
Yeah. Hey, I got a lot of chaos on my side. I recently though found out I switched to champagne because I found out it was keto.
oh, champagne's keto?
It has to be brut, right? Like the brut.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah,
But yeah,
champagne's the only thing I don't like. Uh,
I
yeah,
mean, it's not like my favorite, but I have this rule now that I never say no to free champagne.
no, no, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
And so, that means celebration, right? Usually it's
Oh,
celebrating, which is a big part of my personal motto is, always be celebrating, and very
always
grateful to have you here to celebrate you. So, I want to jump right into this,
go for it.
the autonomy of an effective haunt. And I know that in the bio we mentioned that you've been going to these haunts for most of your life, which I don't
Yes,
know how you've done because I can barely get through them.
really.
Yes, that's why I was wondering if you met my sister. You mentioned you met some of my team at Epic, and my sister is a huge fan,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
huge fan, and a lot of why I've been involved in haunts is because of her, and I'm very grateful for that. But like, my heart cannot take the jump scares anymore.
Well, yeah, yeah. I actually have been going to, like you said, theme park haunts since I was 6. I went to not Scary Farm. I was born in Orange County, and I right between Disneyland and Knott's.
Yeah,
So like I was always at either one of those, and sometimes Magic Mountain. But yeah, so this Halloween, it was only a 6-year-old event at that time,
yeah,
and so we went, and it was scary, but I liked it. It was like a fun scary, you know?
yeah,
And, but my love for horror actually started when I was 5, when, my crazy aunts and cousins took me to see Halloween at the drive-in when it came out. And, that was the first time that I recognized that scary could be fun. Like,
yes,
you felt this tension, but you were okay. And it was funny watching it. I really connected with the kids in the movie, not the babysitters. And so I'm like, oh, that's the good kid and the good babysitter. And, it was really interesting. So then, the next year I was at Not Scary Farm and realized there was fun to it, you know,
yeah,
and a way to experience, explore boundaries like that.
yeah. I love that. I actually grew up in Southern California myself. My dad and both my parents are Californian. And my dad always tells his story about Knott's Berry Farm when they first, like, I think, or not Scary Farm, right?
Mhm.
I think it was the first year that they had opened that
Yeah,
they had
and it
started
was only
doing
one
that.
weekend.
Yeah. And it was back in like, it had to have been in the late 70s, right?
It was 73 when they
73. Okay. Because he always talks about how he was wearing these like platforms and he got scared and he was running through one of the attractions and he fell. and he was trying to get away from the haunted actors, right? And he's in these big old platforms and bell bottoms, and he tells this story all the time. So I just had to bring that. He's probably going to kill me for saying
That's
that,
so
but
awesome. That's so awesome.
funny.
I used to wear boots to Magic Mountain so I could get on the big rides because I'm a short guy,
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, and it's so funny because those are the memories you take away. You know,
yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, I was such a fool, and oh, I was so terrified. But
Well, or even in like my dad's case, he's passing it on. Like it's one of my favorite stories he tells.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
for
it's
sure.
things that you pass along, and that kind of like brings me to my first question, big question for you, and that is like, what's the single most important element that truly transforms a basic scare into something that is truly memorable, a truly
Know,
memorable experience?
know your audience.
Yeah,
If you're a haunt creator, you have to know your audience, and you have to know how far you can push it. Um, After that, a really good surprise or a really good distraction, and then a surprise. Um, because, you know, it's again, horror is all about safely exploring those boundaries. And I can remember one year, Knott's also does this really cute thing called Knott's Spooky Farm for kids. And, it's all Peanuts characters and trick or treat trails. And they had this pumpkin that was a walk-through pumpkin, fully open, but it had some little spooky noises in it. And I was holding my niece at the time, and I was walking through slowly, and she was a little scared, but it was just enough. But it's like all the other older kids are like, yeah, this is just playtime.
yeah,
So that was to me really an interesting look at, oh, okay, that's her level. And now she's watching, Trick or Treat and all the fun stuff. And so yeah, it's first knowing your audience and knowing what's going to scare them and how far you can push it. And
yeah.
then after that, you know, going for it and
Well, I
surprise.
do. I do think it's really interesting because I've done a few shows on haunted attractions, all different types, right?
Sure.
And one of the things that is always surprising to me is, and I appreciate, because even though I say like I'm not somebody who likes to go to haunted attractions, I did go with IAPA to Not Scary Farm, had this like back of the house tour that we did,
Yeah.
and they were nice enough to turn the lights on for some of us that were afraid to go in there. And it was still scary, right? Like because the stuff that they're doing is so incredible, and it was
Yeah.
it was really amazing to learn about the things that you're going to talk about today with regards to storytelling and how they came up with the haunt and what they were doing to understanding there was a story that was being told, but
Hmm.
also I've had I had someone on the show who was talking about how there is kind of a psychology a little bit behind scaring people too, right? Like you're
Yep.
saying, like there's an order of how we want to scare people, right? And I wonder, from your perspective, what separates a a jump scare from being something that people forget about or just like remember for years to come.
So
And maybe it's not just the jump scare, but you've got that
what
pattern,
you're
right?
asking, what's the difference between just a throwaway jump scare and a
Yeah.
really good
Yeah. Like what gets people to remember.
surprise? Because a perfect example is like a lot of times when I take people to a haunt for the first time, they're like, I don't know if I can do this. And we go through the first couple of haunted houses and they're jumping at everything and they're terrified. By the end of the night though, they they can kind of spot where the scares are going to come from, and they're not as afraid, you know. So the ones that really get you, I still have to say it's a really good distraction and a really good surprise.
Yeah.
The ones that you don't see coming. And the worst thing about that is that now it's very rare for me to scream. But when it happens, oh,
It's a
so
good
much fun.
feeling.
Yeah.
Well, when I was at that back of the house tour and the lights were on, I could see the most worn down parts of the haunt where the actors were
Yeah.
waiting,
Yeah.
right? It was always where the actors were waiting, which, for me was good to see because I kind of like breaking down for me to get through it, I have to know, like, I'm gonna get through this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
well, yeah, you're see, you're approaching it from, an analytical standpoint and trying to break it down to something that you enjoy.
yeah. And so that was a really interesting thing. But it also like reinforced the idea that there's so much happening behind the scenes, including,
There's
the storytelling and the technical execution.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see how, just speaking in particular of Not Scary Farm, uh, it's really interesting to see how their haunted houses, or they call them mazes. The mazes have evolved there from and have become a lot more sophisticated. Um, and part of that is because the audience is more sophisticated, but, it's just fascinating because, I mean, the first haunt or the first maze that Knott's ever did, was just, the Chilling Chambers, I think it was. Um, but it was just a simple haunt, with scary little scenes. And now they're telling full stories with backstories and, it's pretty impressive.
And animatronics, they had this when I was there. One of the tours that I went on was they had this gigantic spider, widows.
Yes,
You know,
Widows. That was Daniel Miller's maze.
yeah, it was like I can't even imagine something scarier. With the I don't want to say old people, but with the
The residents of an assisted living facility.
yeah,
That's what
and the spiders. I mean, I can't think of anything like scarier to combine. Like, who thought of that?
well, that was Daniel, and I
Yeah,
was like, that man is a genius. He is one of the sweetest teddy bears of a man, but deep inside that brain of his are some dark things. Like,
yeah,
and he gets to the really disturbing stuff, and he's one of the few designers that can really pull that off. He gets to like the primal stuff, like
yes.
the elderly and spiders, and them bursting out of an old lady's stomach, or it's like, oh
It was
god,
wild.
yeah, but he's great.
Yeah,
He's
that's
great.
awesome. Well, and that kind of, makes me think about, how do designers like that, bridge the gap between creative vision and the operational reality, without losing the core of that experience, right? Because that's a lot,
Oh, it's
right?
tons, and that is, I mean, really, that's the eternal question with haunts. I mean, like, balancing throughput and effectiveness. It's really hard. Um, and recently, over the past, I guess, 10 to 15 years, immersive entertainment has tried to really take it to the next level by, putting you inside of a horror play. Delusion. I don't know if you've heard of Delusion, but it's amazing. John Braver created um, this brilliant way to tell a story and guide a group of, say, 10 people per audience through a scene, with stunts and lighting and in an existing place.
Wow.
And they'd find a structure, they'd build a story around it, and then, they'd cycle people through. And, it is the closest thing you'll ever feel to being in a horror film, and there's even like
Yeah.
rich score, and very effective. But the problem is that it's also very expensive
Yeah.
because you have lower throughput. than say a maze at Scary Farm or a haunted house at HHN. And but the problem there is, when the line is not managed properly, you get the conga line, and and you just have the blackouts and go through, go. So then that ruins the scare. So there's you're always trying to find that balance of throughput and effectiveness.
Yeah. And, for operators that might be watching today, where do you, and I'm assuming this is it, but is this where you most commonly see like the creative concepts breaking down during implementation of a,
Who, me?
is, yeah, or I mean, in
Oh, I thought
general.
you were asking the group.
No, I'm,
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, like, and the other thing too is like if there's a sudden stop or a backup or something like that, you're just standing there, and the poor actor is like cycling through their scares. This happens a lot at HHN because they have a lot of push button scares where they press a button and loud noise and lighting, and you're just stuck there, and you're like just waiting for things to happen. So that will kill it.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I've been stuck on the Haunted Mansion a
well,
few
very
times
similar.
where you're watching the same scene over and over and over again.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
same principle. So one of my favorite haunt designers, bar none, is Johnny Plague of Plague Productions, or John Cook rather. He's gonna kill me. John Cook is he's easily one of the most creative haunt designers that I know, and he is brilliant at reaching that balance. Um, the very first maze that he ever designed for Not Scary Farm was called Paranormal Inc. And it was, the same usual thing, an abandoned asylum. But the gimmick was that there was this team going in there to try to record like a Ghost Adventure type thing. And, then of course things go horribly wrong and you have to make your way through the asylum. But what he did that was so fascinating is he figured out number one, he figured out a way to tell a story effectively. Secondly, he found a way to keep throughput very high. He had, this big show scene at the very beginning, and then everything goes wrong, and then the guests are, pushed into one of two paths. Like there are separate tracks, and then further along in the maze, the paths join, and then you finish it. But it was just a brilliant way to increase throughput, to give a really big punch at the beginning of it, tell a story, and repeatability, because then you wanted to see what the other side did,
Yeah.
So that was it. That was his first, but he's continued to tell amazing stories with his mazes. So
Well, and speaking of stories, one of the things that really surprised me, because I've had a few like longtime haunted actors on the show,
mhm.
is how much even they put into this storytelling.
Oh,
Like, and
totally.
the work that's going into them developing these characters that play into the stories.
Hmm.
And like we just think they show up and scare people, and that's
Nope.
not the case at all, right? I mean, I don't think that. I'm sure that somebody out there might
Well,
be thinking that.
the passive the passive haunt goer would be like, oh, okay, and then they think, okay, that's fine. No, but like you were saying, haunt actors they have to be so good at so many disciplines.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have to be good with makeup, and you guys don't forget to put on your eye black. Just make sure. It's just a reminder. But they have to be good at makeup. They have to be very good at improv. They have to be good at timing. Sometimes they have to be good at crowd control,
Yeah.
or getting into the psychological aspect of a scare. And there's a lot going on, and that's not to mention they build their characters. You
Yeah.
know, most of the haunt actors that get shoved into a corner at a inside of a haunted house, they have a story. They build a story, that really helps them to create an effective scare. And
Yeah,
it's so much work.
I think that's important for people to understand because it changes it so much. When you think that what an art it is to do
Mhm.
all of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the biggest appreciation that I've gained from not only working with haunts, but also talking to people who are within the haunted industry is I've gained so much appreciation for the art that is behind it. And like what you're talking about, the storytelling. But I'd love
Hmm.
to talk about horror buzz for a minute.
Okay.
I know
Sounds good.
I know that horror buzz is something that you've scaled to 15 million views, which is incredible. I mean, that's an incredible milestone for anything. I mean, I just
Well,
need you to afterwards teach me how to do that for this show. But I know that's
um,
not luck, and I know it's a strategy, and I'm curious, you know, what's the secret? Is it the community? Is it
community.
yeah,
Like, but again, circling back to knowing your audience. But before I even started the site, I was part of the haunt and horror community,
yeah,
and it's one of the best, fan communities on the planet. We are a weird bunch of misfit toys, but you know, we're sincere, we're fierce, we're loyal, and we embrace the darkness. So it was just easy to build a site where I wanted to. The big goal obviously was to be able to cover as many haunts as I could, because when I first started, it was very haunt focused. Just walk through haunts, theme park haunts, things like that.
sure,
Um, but I also then expanded in covering film and covering books and things like that. But the idea was, all along to champion the artists and champion the community, um, in an extremely inclusive way too. So
yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
And so I mean, what I'm hearing from you is that authenticity plays a big role in creating that audience trust.
100%.
Yeah,
Because if you're not, I mean, eh, they can spot BS in a second. I mean, and nobody wants to waste their time with that. And um, we're there to have fun. We're there to have a good scare, a good laugh, and support one another.
yeah.
You know, so
No, I get that. I mean, I once tried to sell Gate Master in ski resorts, and then the second they all found out I didn't ski,
yeah,
like
yeah. See,
like a real thing, like people want that authenticity.
yeah, for
So
sure.
in a previous life, I thought that would be something cool to do, and then I realized like I don't understand these people, you know.
Well, I mean, you could try to ski, but if it's just not you, I guess.
I mean, I'm not against skiing. I
Why are
just
you against skiing, Sondra?
or for that matter. I mean, I listen. I do corn mazes,
Okay.
and I
No, those are great. Listen, I throw shade on no level of haunt. I I love it all. I love the spooky stuff. I love the vintage stuff. I love
yeah.
the sweet stuff, all the way to the extreme stuff, like full contact. I love it.
Oh,
I
my
love it
my
all.
sister just did one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can tell this story, but we're trying to get this business, and they were like, "You gotta try the haunt," and it's one of the scariest ones, pure darkness. And
Really?
and she went by herself, and at the end, he's like, "All right, I could work with you."
That's nice. Good
It was
job.
awesome. I'm so
Well,
proud of her.
yeah, I looked at the beginning of the live stream. I saw the question about the scariest haunt, and you posed it to the audience. I would definitely love to tell you about mine. Oof, it was terrifying, but we'll
Wait, tell
get to
me.
that.
Can you
Oh,
tell?
right.
Or can we talk about it on the show, or is it
Yeah,
something?
sure,
Okay, let's do it.
sure. I mean, okay, so back in 2014, well, a little bit earlier, there was a brilliant guy named Josh Randall who started a haunt called Blackout. in New York. Blackout was a thing that you had to go in alone. Uh, they could touch you, they could do whatever, they could. Anyway, so it finally made its way out to LA, and in 13 or 14, um, I started going to it, and I just fell in love. I just loved it. But what they did in LA was special off-season haunts for people who had already gone through the regular blackout, the already intense blackout. And so it was like in spring. Um, and you had to buy tickets and, oh, the new show's coming. Okay, great. So you had to go online and buy tickets and, you buy your ticket and one of the questions was you had to have a hotel or an apartment in like the Burbank, Hollywood area, and it's like, okay, that's weird. But so I, was going to borrow my friend's apartment and, and so you buy the ticket and they're like, usually at that point, after you buy the ticket, then they tell you where it is,
Okay.
right? Because they don't want
Yeah.
people just showing up and, they didn't want
That alone sounds scary.
Okay, well, buckle up, sister. So for this off-season show, you bought your ticket and they said, okay, cool, there is no address. We're coming to you. And yeah. And so the directions were to you had to sit in the room, in the living room or wherever, with your back to the door, the front door, unlocked front door, like in a certain window of time. And they were going to come between 8 and 10.
What?
So, it was terrifying. And so I was like, okay, so I set everything up, got everything ready, and then sat in the chair. Then they knocked on the door, they opened it, and they were like, we're leaving you this release form. You have 4 minutes to sign it, and then the experience will begin. So then, of course, I got up, I signed it real quick, and then I sat back down in the chair, and they came in, they put sound canceling headphones on my ears. They shrink wrapped me and that wrap that they put on shipping. Anyway, then they started interrogating me. They waterboarded me. They threw me into a bathtub with some potting soil. I mean, it was like, what is happening? But it was so the exhilaration of not knowing what the hell was going to happen next was so unnerving and scary and fun, and of course with that there's a safety word, so if it was like, oh, too much, then but I wasn't going to do that. But yeah, it was just like,
That's
it was
wild.
wild. And then I'm not even going to tell you what happened next because it only got worse. But the experience
you
lasted.
had me at waterboarding.
It was a lot, but it was so much fun. And then they left. It was like about a 25-minute experience.
Wow.
And what was really awful was they left me on the floor face down, and they're like, we're always watching you, don't move, so I didn't know if they'd left the apartment yet. And I was so afraid that if I hopped up, they would come and tackle me and like do a really good jump scare or something. But anyway, the point is,
how long did you lay there?
I would say another 20-30 minutes because I was terrified that they were just waiting for me to show up,
Yeah.
But no, and after that, then I locked the doors in the apartment, and then I was like, holy, but it was great. It was so much fun. And now Josh is one of my dear friends. He's so great.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, what gets me about that experience is just the surprise. I mean, that's truthfully, that's the same reason people are riding coasters and stuff, right? Like,
Well, that's exactly it.
it's the emotion behind it. It's what we create for people.
Right.
And so that's an incredibly wild experience. I don't know if I'm going there. I might stick to my hay rides, but
Do that because those are good too.
I mean,
Those
I
are
love those.
wonderful.
I every Halloween I do a hayride and a corn maze.
That's
And
great.
my kids are actually, because they hang out with my sister. They're getting to where they have an elevated threshold for scare than I do. But I love that for them, right?
No, that's great.
Yeah,
And that's fine. Your level of scared, that's great.
yeah. I'm just,
You know?
sometimes I used to be afraid of admitting that on here, but you know, I've been told by all this everybody that you're right. There is a level of scare that people can tolerate, and
Yeah.
I'm much more of a roller coaster kind of person too, right?
Oh,
Like,
cool. Have you been on
yeah.
X2 yet at Magic Mountain?
I haven't been on X2, but Magic Mountain is the park that I grew up going to because I grew up
See?
Santa Clarita. If you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
that
X2
was
is
my park. I loved Superman. I'm so sad about that one.
remember? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
was there when
remember.
it opened.
Me
Oh,
too. Me too.
wow. That's so
That was
cool.
a a fun one. So sad to see that one go. But so I mean, I do have my own level of adrenaline that I go
Yeah.
for.
I like
But
to say that, I mean, when people are like, "Oh, I don't like horror movies. I don't like scary things." I'm like, "No, you do."
yeah,
You just don't know what it is. Like, you just a second ago, you were talking about Haunted Mansion. That's
yeah,
horror.
yeah.
That's a haunted house.
Well, you know what? I did do a ghost. I've done ghost hunts, like legit.
See, and that's fun
Yeah,
too.
that's an experience, right? Like just like what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But you mentioned these guys were doing like an off-season haunt, right?
Mhm.
And so, that kind of like makes me think about some of what we're seeing right now, like with Universal. What was it? Universal Unleashed in Las Vegas. It's running all year long,
Yes. Yes.
and I'm just curious, kind of what you see in terms of those trends that are happening, because I think we're seeing more and more people want to have these types of experiences all year long. What are you
I
hearing?
I can tell you that that's what I want.
Yeah,
But again, horror buzz.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely. And there's also I have to give a shout out to Jason Egan and his amazing escape rooms in Las Vegas as well. And Zombie Joe's Underground Theater opened Urban Death out there in Vegas. And the Jason's escape rooms, it chapters 1 and 2, Saw, and Blair Witch. Those are top tier escape
Wow,
rooms. Those are the best I've ever been to. Period.
wow.
Um, and they're amazing, but they're repeatable and they're horror themed entertainment. And he's doing great business there. And Unleashed is from what I hear is doing okay. Um, they've actually started doing these smaller pop-up events as well, like for Christmas or for Easter and I think that's a smart way to keep that model alive. I mean, I have my own opinions about certain things on at Unleashed, but
Sure. I haven't
um,
been yet.
oh, it's very well done, and the sets are exquisite. But just some really interesting ways of how they had to adapt um, a haunt experience with a bar and a restaurant, and
Mm,
it was really some interesting stuff. But the Universal Classic Monsters haunted house there is just wow. It's really good. All of them are good except for Exorcist Believer. Sorry, that was a stinker, but oh well.
well,
Um,
I did. You made me think about when we were over at Epic,
yeah,
right? They had that monsters area.
best, best ride on the planet.
Yeah,
Best
I
ride
can't
in the
remember what the
entire
ride was
world.
called. The one where you could see the arm, the ride.
Yeah,
That was a really, really cool one. And actually, I some people I talked to didn't like that they had the ride mechanics exposed, but I kind of enjoyed it.
well,
It
wait a
like
minute. Are you talking about Monsters Unchained?
is that the one where you're kind of on like it's like a
It's a puka arm. Yeah,
yeah,
and there's 4 across. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and so some people were saying they didn't like to see
I've
the ride
I've
view.
I've I've talked to people who didn't like that the ride was exposed, right?
Mhm.
Because I think it's very similar mechanics to like Harry Potter and some of those other rides, right?
Yes,
But
with a few key differences, yeah.
yeah, but you could see it, and to me, I don't know, I kind of feel like it like added to the experience. Like it added a
Yeah.
little scare, being able more of a scare to be able to see the ride.
Yeah, well, yeah, they built it into the story. I mean,
Yeah,
you saw a model of the ride vehicle when Igor was telling you what was
yeah,
gonna happen, and, it worked.
yeah,
For me, it did, but,
yeah.
you
Did
know
for me too. Also, I really like the when the that tower catches fire. That's like my
Oh,
I've
the
seen that more than once
parade!
because I like it so much.
Yeah, it was so great. When we were there that night, there was an actress there who was just phenomenal, and she could tell that I was really emotional because I was in my happy place, and
Yeah,
she's like, "Yeah, you're one of us. I'm gonna call you Bitters," like that.
bitters.
I was like, "Okay, that's awesome," so she was great. So shout out to her. I never reached out, but anyway.
I mean, what an awesome job. She used to do that all year long.
Oh, she was so good. All of them were so good. That was
Yeah.
such a neat night.
Yeah, it's a neat night. Actually, I think I just saw this week. We're going back, celebrate this year.
Really?
Yeah, which I'm not sad about.
I am not upset about that at all.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
can't
sad
wait.
about that. I'm gonna be there. So,
I'm gonna you know what? The only thing I didn't get to do that night was, Stardust Racers.
oh my gosh, I did that twice,
Okay, so our deal was
which I shouldn't have done, by the way.
why?
So, because we are there on business, right?
Sure.
And so I went on the ride, and then a friend of mine was like, "You want to ride it again? You want to ride it?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll do it again because I love that ride."
Mhm.
Like, there's just something about well, I told you I'm a coaster person, but then
Yeah,
like
yeah,
where when the two coasters come together, and you're like almost dancing weightlessly in space with the other coaster, and you can hear everybody screaming. It's just
yeah.
such a cool feeling. But after my second ride, my brain was like a little jumbled
Oh.
because somebody introduced me to somebody, and I was like, I don't remember that. But I think it's because I had like shaken baby syndrome after riding.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. It it's a thing, it can happen, but,
I mean, it was. I listen. I've ridden coasters more times than I should, and I know that that's a real thing, right? Like,
yeah.
but it is a great ride. It's probably one of my favorites. Probably my top three
Velocicoaster is my favorite coaster, but in all fairness, I have not been on, Stardust, so
this year. Maybe we can
yes.
go together.
Yes, let's go on it together.
I'll totally do that.
Are you a back row or a front row person?
I'm wherever I can, but I'll go front.
Front well, back is where you get the most force, so but I'll go anywhere for the first
I'll
time.
go anywhere. I mean, I'll take any part of a coaster. I'm not
Cool.
afraid of
It's a
any
date.
part. But have you been on Guardians? Not to Guardians
Yes.
Galaxy at Epcot.
Yes.
That's my all-time favorite.
Okay. Very good coaster, but I have deep feelings about Epcot. I feel it's lost its way, and that ride was so cynical. Oh,
I just
it
like
was
the
just
music too.
listen, once you're on the ride and all the stuff is happening, that's great. But,
Yeah,
but also the show building, you can totally
yeah,
it kills the view anyway.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm one of those people, sorry.
It's all right. That's why you're here because you've got opinions that people like to hear, right?
I mean, maybe, I don't know, but, I'm like, I rode that and I was like, "Can we just go on Living with the Land? Can we just go on Spaceship Earth?" I miss OG Epcot where there was
Yeah.
optimism and hope in the future and, you
I mean,
know
don't get me wrong. I mean, my one of my favorite things at Epcot is just like the festivals and going around and eating and drinking.
well, yeah, everyone loves that,
Like,
you know?
as long as
Mm,
that's my favorite part of it. But yeah, I just really enjoyed that particular ride. And then I would say, like I said, Stardust Racers. We're going to do it this year.
yep, I
I
can't
think
wait.
so.
It's gonna be so cool.
Well, we're approaching the end of the show, which I'm really sad about because I have a lot more questions for you, but what I think we should do is you should come back, maybe even around
Yes, I would.
Halloween.
Oh my god, I would love to.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a special show just for
Yeah,
the Halloween time. I think that would be really cool, and then we can finish
I
up
would. I
this
would so love
conversation.
that.
Yeah, this was fun. And I just want to make sure though that everybody watching, if they enjoyed this conversation and they enjoyed you, how is what's the best way to connect with you and Horror Buzz, learn more about what you're doing?
Okay. Well, obviously the website is horrorbuzz.com. But you can reach out to us on Instagram, at horrorbuzz. We still have an account on X, horror_buzz, Facebook. Um, you can just reach out, info@horrorbuzz,
Awesome.
and just follow our crazy adventures, especially during the haunt season when Jeff Heimbuck and I do our 7-second reviews. Those are so much fun.
All right. Well, that's even more reason why you got to come back in October.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I will make sure that Maria gets you back here. Okay.
Oh, it'd be such a treat. Thanks.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for, helping the audience understand that this conversation is so much more about being scared and fear, but the emotions behind it, the community, the culture behind it, and I just think it's cool stuff. I think it's cool stuff.
Wonderful.
Especially, I especially think it's cool the passion that so many people in the haunted attraction industry have for what they
Mm.
do. And so, thank you for letting us see some of that today.
Oh, you're welcome. I would come back anytime you want.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take you up on that.
Okay.
I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Norman. Well, that was a fun show. Um, I really love having people like Norman on the show. First of all, I mean, this is a great conversation. I really love the content. And I also want to thank all of you guys for watching today. And whether you're building a haunted attraction, a theme park, a family entertainment center, a live event, the goal is always the same: to create experiences that people remember. And that's why at Gatemaster, we believe technology should help operators deliver those experiences more effectively by removing friction and improving the guest journey. Because the less time you spend fighting with your operation, the more time you get to create magic, or in this case, create nightmares. So, thank you to everybody for joining us live, to all of our podcast listeners around the world, and for everyone who has joined in on the conversation, made comments. And if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're watching, head over to YouTube and like and subscribe to our new Live with Sondra YouTube channel. I'm Sondra Shannon, and this is Live with Sondra.